But one thing he did point out was that, like, over the last 20 years or so, we haven't really been eating much more calories than we were. Like from the 1960s to about 2000, we ate more calories, and maybe that explains why everybody got fat. But since that time, we really haven't eaten much more, but we've eaten so much more ultra-processed food. And in fact, right now, the U.S. diet is close to 70% ultra-processed, which you think about, that's like crazy, and our kids are getting fat. But one thing that's interesting is, like, you know, because you're talking about the microbiome, right, our gut flora. When you eat like whole food, you know, it goes farther down your digestive tract, and then, you know, our microbiome actually consumes some of it. Up to 22% of our calories can be consumed by our microbiome. But when you're just eating sugar, it goes straight in you. So those calories, your gut microbiome doesn't get any of that. So it's like you're absorbing more calories. So just by changing the quality of the food, you're changing how many calories you absorb, and that is what some people say is part of what leads to this obesity thing. But we know, like, for instance, well, here's another thing. The USDA came out with a study, like, I don't know, 3 months ago. 91% processed food diet is healthy. You know, this is what they're pushing, trying to get us, because they're trying to position us to say.
What was this study?
This was the USDA put it out. It was probably, I think it was the Nova study. I might have that on there, Jamie, but it's basically because there's starting to be backlash against ultra processed foods. I mean, like South America is starting to ban this stuff, which I think, you know, I'm not for banning food. I mean, I think that gets into, you know, freedom of choice and things like that. So you shouldn't ban. Just like you can still smoke if you want to. You know, it's not the best for you, so you don't want to do that. But at the same point, you know, they're saying, like, this stuff is, there's a lot of backlash. And like people like myself and probably you and others just saying, look, this ultra processed garbage is literally killing us. It's making us crazy. It's making us depressed. All these people with mental health disorders, a lot of that nutrition is part of that, and we can talk about that. But, you know, what they're seeing is there's a backlash against that. Yeah, so that's a Nova
Dietary guidelines meet Nova, developing a menu for a healthy dietary pattern using ultra-processed foods.
So they're basically saying, hey, how do we make people eat more processed food and make it quote-unquote healthy? And they showed that they could make a diet that's like 91% ultra-processed foods and still be quote-unquote healthy.
Look at what it says here. It says the purpose of this proof of concept study was to determine the feasibility of building a menu that aligns with the recommendations for a healthy dietary pattern from the 2020 DGA and includes a over 80%, what is that, KCAL?
Kilocalories.
Kilocalories from UPF, ultra-processed foods, as defined by Nova, designed to accomplish this objective.